Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of El Show con Natasha Melina. Today, I'll be chatting with Santiago Maza, the incredible director and writer and creator of award-winning documentary The Thunder Feast, who's now presenting his brand new film, Todavía Después, alongside Jose Cuervo. Hi, Santiago. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien. Very, very happy to be here. Thanks for the interview.
It's such a pleasure to be chatting with you here because you are an incredibly talented and decorated director and writer. You've worked with Netflix, you've worked with Televisa, and you've gained so much recognition and you've even won awards. What does this all signify to you?
Well, I really enjoy doing documentaries, and so every new project for me is a chance to take the camera and dig deep in a theme or in a story or in a group of people. So the recognition it works because it gives you the chance to do it all over again.
Yeah, it builds your platform, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you've won awards for the Thunder Feast. Now we're here to talk about your latest film, which is Todavía Después, as I already said. And that film takes a look at a traditional Mayan ritual, right, that people perform for Día de los Muertos. I was wondering if you can tell our audience a little bit more about this ritual and what we can expect to see in the documentary Todavía Después.
Well, the documentaries, it tries to convey the essence of this version of Dia de Muertos in Pomuch, Campeche, which is very unique. Dia de Muertos is a universal thing for Latinos all across America, but in Pomuch, the Mayan culture mixed with Hispanic culture and Catholic religion makes this unique blend, so for Mayans, the body continues to experience life as it is even after you've passed away. So that's why they keep the skeletons of your dead relatives instead of buried in boxes that are called osamentas, and there you put the bones in a way so that this relative or person continues to enjoy the view or a good weather, So that's why for Dia de Muertos, all families go back to the cemeteries and clean these boxes where you keep the bones and put new cloths. So it's like changing them, giving them like a new attire for a whole new year. So it's amazing how Mexicans are so rooted in family that in this case in particular, even after the relatives are no longer with us, you keep taking care of the body. You keep inviting them to your home, and for me that's very meaningful. So this short film tries to grasp a bit of that essence that it's unique in Pomuch, and that, I hope people enjoy the documentary, but even more so that they visit Pomuch and they experience this firsthand.
I would love to experience that firsthand, because just learning a little bit right now, hearing you speak on it, it sounds like such a beautiful and unique tradition, as you yourself said. And a lot of Latin American countries, other than Mexico, we don't really celebrate life in such a way even after death. So I think that's so wonderful that Mexico and you are shedding light on these wonderful traditions of Dia de los Muertos, because I feel like a lot of us other countries, and maybe even us Latinos growing up in the United States, should try to adopt some of these things ourselves, so that life after death is not something so sad and it's something that can be celebrated. So I love that you're doing that, Santiago. That's amazing, really.
No, I was just gonna add that it was a wonderful opportunity to go to this town that it's far from Mexico City, where I live in, and so Jose Cuervo commissions each year a different filmmaker to make a portrait of Dia de Muertos in Michoacán or in Campeche, in Oaxaca. So give the fact that I was given this chance of being invited to this project by Cuervo, for me it was an excellent excuse to be in touch with this part of my culture, but at the same time that it's something we all Mexicans share. But here, as I mentioned, here in Pomuch, they go even they go deeper into it. So you can always learn more about it.
Yes, it is amazing. Jose Cuervo is an amazing brand, and the fact that every year they choose a new film and new director or team to shed light on who speak on Mexican traditions, whether it be Dia de los Muertos or anything else, is something very special that they do, and I love that they do that. I was just wondering, how was the moment that they reached out to you for this film?
Well, they reached out to Habitant, another important partner in this project, and they were looking for documentary filmmakers that, and I was just coming out of this great moment with the Thunder Feast. So when they were looking for new voices, they reached out, and together because we had different options of different versions of Dia de Muertos to make the documentary on. So together we chose Pomuch, which was for me the most extraordinary version compared to what we usually do in Mexico City or places I've been in, and and from day one it was very enjoyable because they know what they want, and at the same time they give you a lot of freedom, a lot of creative freedom. So for me, that it was a very comfortable position to have at the same time the backup of a bigger structure, but at the same time the creative freedom that I like to work with.
So as you said, in the city that you visited for the film, the traditions for Dia de los Muertos and everything is completely different from what you experienced growing up and living in Mexico City. So I was wondering, what are some of your favorite Dia de los Muertos traditions that you grew up with? And what are some memories that you might remember and have?
Well, ever since I was a young kid, I remember putting the altar, and it's very colorful. So I think that's why even like new generations, they always are involved with Dia de Muertos because they immediately grasp your attention, even as a kid. You know that then you start adding value to it. But for me, that was a very fun part to do, to decorate the altar when I was very young, and nowadays I always try to give it every year. I try to do something different, you know. So if one year I put not only food or some drink for my grandparents, for relatives that I miss, maybe one year I'll add a book that I read that I would like them to enjoy. So I try to bring new elements or remember what type of music they enjoyed. So on that day I put the record on the altar and I listen to the record with them. So it's kind of my own version of how to do it, and that way it's more personal. So I like the fact that you have some things that are very very ceremonial and have been that same way for centuries, but I like to add my own elements so that it feels mine.
That's one of my favorite traditions I think that I've learned about that some cities in Mexico have, like the classic altar that you present for your loved ones who have passed on, because it allows you to maintain a connection. Like you said, like you usually have the typical photos and everything, but then when you choose to add something so special, like a book that you want to share with them, it's just so amazing that you guys are still maintaining a bond. And I just love that tradition. So thank you for sharing that with us so much. Are there any specific memories you have from your childhood, maybe with your family celebrating Dia de los Muertos?
Well, I remember the first time I went outside of Mexico City, like on a trip for Dia de Muertos, because as we've said, the, there's like the more city-like version here where you do it at home. But when you leave Mexico City and you go, each town, each state has their own adaptations to their own weather, to their own culture, to their own cosmic view. So So I remember the first time I went to Pátzcuaro, which is, I think, the most famous version of Dia de Muertos in Mexico, and it's amazing. Yeah, I remember this lake where they put candles on nutshells so that they float on the lake, and I mean, just the imagery is amazing, but also the fact that I mean, when you're at home, you're with those persons that are close to you, but when you visit a cemetery where there's no relatives there, but you still see all these families spending the night with their grandparents or parents and or kids as well, and you see the respect that they have for the tradition and the emotions that that are not only yours but it's like a universal thing. I think that's the first I remember that was like the first time it really took root on me. It was not only like something enjoyable to do at home, but it provided me a lot of meaning for the tradition. So that was great, and ever since I've always tried to provide that special sense at home or everywhere I go during the holiday.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Santiago, for that. I'm so happy to hear a little bit more of your background so we can get to know the masterminds behind this amazing project, Todavía Después. I wanted to know, how did this project come to be exactly? Can you give us a little bit background on how Todavía Después was made and what made you decide to join this project? Obviously, it's something so important to you and dear to your heart.
Yeah, well, actually, when I first got the call of being able to do a documentary on Dia de Muertos, I was immediately thrilled and I was excited of working with Cuervo, with Habitant, with Exposure, the agency in New York. Like it immediately felt like the right project to take, and after that, it was all quite. It developed very quickly, you know. So I don't know. I had like 1 or 2 weeks after receiving that call that I was already in Pomuch by myself, and I got amazing help from people in Campeche, you know, from cronistas, which are this Mexican tradition of people that are the historians of each place. So I got a hold of cronistas from Campeche and specifically from Pomuch, and they made sure that I got it right. You know, that even though, I mean, I'm Mexican, but I'm not from there. So we had really good conversations on how to get a hold of what's important and on the symbols, on how the people view their own tradition of Dia de Muertos. And so I came back with that information, and we had a few meetings in Mexico City, and then again 2 weeks after that, I was with people from Cuervo and from the production house, and Leslie, the photographer, who did an amazing job. We were back there, and I was introducing them to the people that I had met and showing them a few of the places that I thought that would work well for the documentary, and we had a rich brainstorm sessions on site, you know. So we were right there thinking how we would solve these challenges, and after that, yeah, we came back. We did some extra planning. So by the time we were there on the third trip, we already knew what we wanted. So the shooting, I believe it was like a four days that we shot, that took us to shoot the whole documentary. So, but it was all very smooth because we already knew the timing of everything that was gonna happen, and also the people that we wanted to chat with and to show them during their path during these days. So yeah, it was not only very like a very humbling experience to learn again on a new phase of the same tradition, but also very enjoyable for all the team.
That's amazing. I'm glad you guys had fun making this documentary for all of us. Why do you think that it's so important to create and share these kinds of stories?
Well, I think empathy works through stories. It's not the only way, but I think it's the easiest way. You know, the how we tell stories to one another. I mean, long time ago it was only through oral tradition, but now there are so many ways of how to convey what's important to you or your what's sacred to you, your traditions, your the elements that define you. So for me, the camera is the best way to tell a story, and because I mean, there are no objective uh, documentaries. It's always your point of view always guides the way. But I like the fact that with the camera I can rely on telling some of the things the way they are without my voice on in it, you know. So in this dialogue between me, the team, and the camera, I think it's the best. I find it the most uh, inspiring way of telling a story, and it can travel so fast, you know, that even this year that we're all confined at home, the story can travel and it can reach new audiences, and people can learn from this amazing town in Mexico.
That is so exactly true. Like you said, especially during these times where we're looking to learn more and we need to be delivered these new experiences through technology because we can't be face to face and hearing these stories and everything. So storytelling through film is something that I've always found so incredible. You as a director and then the rest of your team creating this amazing documentary, Todavía Después, which tells the traditions of Mayan traditions of Dia de los Muertos. It's something amazing. I'm so glad that you're sharing your story and the story of the film with us, which it was only released and premiered a few weeks ago, correct?
Yes, it just premiered the San Diego Film Festival. We were very happy to hear the news when we found out that we were going to premiere at San Diego. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to think that this is only like the first step, and we're gonna be able to find other screens in different festivals with new audiences that we can share the story with in the US, in Mexico, or anywhere. I mean, I that's a part that I enjoy a lot. I mean, I enjoy doing it and the challenges of being there on site and trying to find the best way to capture the story. But I also enjoy a lot when the story travels and you hear people from different places tell you what they find in the story and how it relates to them.
Amazing, Santiago. I can't wait to see everything that's to come for this film and all the recognition that is going to continue gaining because I know it is. It's something so special, not only for Mexicans who can relate, but also us other kinds of Latinos. Like I'm from Ecuador, and I love being able to learn more about Mexico's traditions. So it's so beautiful. Where can we see the film? Is there anywhere online that we can see the film or not yet?
Not yet, because we're still planning on sending it to another few other festivals. But I'm sure. I mean, we did not only the documentary piece, but also smaller outtakes that show different aspects that didn't make the cut for the bigger for the longer version of the short documentary. Uh, and those will Cuervo will be releasing them, especially in the US, throughout their media, and so that's also very. I mean, it's nice, you know, to have the story live not only in film festivals, but also on the internet and or in brand events. So the same DNA of the story can travel in different ways, you know. So that's going to be the first way of learning about Dia de Muertos at Pomuch with Todavía Después. And in a few months after we finish our circuit of festivals, we'll release it on the web so everyone can watch it.
Well, I can't wait for that, Santiago. I want to thank your entire team, Jose Cuervo's team, for delivering this incredible film, Todavía Después, that I'm sure all the audience can't wait to see, just like myself. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit here and talk to us about a little bit about yourself and the film Todavía Después.
No, thank you, Natasha, for the opportunity. It was great to talk again about this. It always gives me the chance to relive those moments when I was there. So thanks, and I hope everyone follows Todavía Después and Cuervo's channels so that they can watch it as in their different versions.
Thank you so much. You have my support, and you have the support of all of us here at Urban Latino. It's been so great. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. Bye-bye.